Flight Control Panel, or FCP. The Flight Control Panel is the mode selection panel that controls the flight director and autopilot functions. The Flight Control Panel is located on the glare shield and is accessible to both pilots. The FCP is divided into 4 distinct areas. Each area is defined by the functions that it performs. The areas are Flight Director Course Selector, Autopilot, Vertical Modes, Lateral Modes, FCC Status Indicator Lights. There are 2 green FCC Status Indicator Lights, one on either side of each mode push button. When a pilot makes a flight director mode selection with a push button pressed, the request is sent to both FCCs. When the FCCs determine that conditions are correct for the selected mode, they send acknowledgement signals back to the FCP. Green lights are illuminated on either side of the selected mode push button. The lights illuminate when the respective FCC has acknowledged and responded to the request. FD push button. The FD push buttons are used to turn off the flight directors. If Flight Director 1 is active, pressing the co-pilot's FD push button removes the command bars from PFD 2 only. If Flight Director 2 is active, the pilot's FD push button will remove the command bars from PFD 1, and the command bars remain on PFD 2. Pressing the FD push button associated with the active flight director will remove the command bars and vertical and lateral guidance information from both PFDs. With the autopilot engaged, pressing the active flight director's push button will not disengage the autopilot or remove the command bars. Course Select Knob. The Course Select knobs are used to set the course arrow when navigating with a VOR or localizer. Course 1, when rotated, changes the pilot's selected course, as displayed on his primary flight display. A course arrow and digital course readout on PFD 1 indicate the course setting. The push button in the center of the knob, when pressed, causes the course pointer and digital readout to indicate the 0 deviation course to the tuned VOR station. The co-pilot's knob operates in an identical manner. Autopilot FD transfer push button. In most phases of flight, only one flight director is active and the other remains in standby. The transfer push button allows the pilots to select the active flight director. Normally, if the pilot is hand flying, Flight Director 1 is selected, and a white arrow on each ADI points to the left. A green FD1 message is displayed beneath the co-pilot's flight mode annunciator. If the co-pilot is hand flying, the transfer push button is pressed, and Flight Director 2 becomes active. A green FD2 message appears beneath the pilot's FMA, and a white arrow on each ADI points to the right. Green lights are illuminated on each side of the transfer push button. Autopilot engagement push button. When pressed, the Flight Control Panel Autopilot Engage push button engages the autopilot. Green lights appear on both sides of the push button. Autopilot flight director coupling is indicated on the PFD by green autopilot left arrow coupled to FD1, or green autopilot right arrow coupled to FD2. Pressing the autopilot engage push button when the autopilot is engaged will cause the autopilot to disengage.